Yeah. Let's go live. And just need to.
Jason sounds like a junkie. He's like,
Let's
live,
go.
live.
Let's go. Come on. Okay, thank you. Finally, we're live.
Zoom chat.
All right, link is in the Zoom chat. Hey, Noties, welcome to the show. Molly, how are you?
What's up?
What's good? How are you doing today?
T-minus 3 days to vacay.
Oh, you're going on vacation again?
What do you mean again?
What's going on? I'm trolling you. What's going on?
You're
How
going
many
on
days of
vacation
vacation?
one time?
How many vacation now? How many days of vacation now?
This is a big one. This is the
What?
one. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going Friday and the whole following week.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Thanks for letting me know, guys.
Big week built in for you next week, Jason.
Why is nobody telling me anything?
It's in the
No.
production.
Calendar's bullshit. No. You got to tell me and remind me over and over again. This stuff's happening, Nick.
I did remind everybody in the production channel, to be fair.
Yeah. No, but you got to tell me, everybody. Important stuff. Let me know. So what's the plan for next week then, Nick?
So we have Acquired coming on for one day.
Oh, nice.
Yep. We have one interview that we're going to have banked for Monday. We have Zach Coleus coming on for another day for Ask an Angel. Antonio
We just did Ask an Angel. Are we doing that like too quickly back to back? Can we pair him with somebody?
We can pair him and do news.
Well, just that pairing would be good.
Ask you who you feel like having on that we haven't had on in a while.
Well, I'm liking the round table concept. I think doing a crypto
Should we try
one.
and get the micro acquire guy on next week for a M&A thing?
M&A is interesting. We could alternative investing is interesting. We did that roundtable, but I'm just thinking in terms of besties. Like I think the Redfin one went really well with Adina and Redfin, Glenn and Adina. What about crypto? Having Pomp, Vinny Lingham, and Sandeep Madra on.
The three.
That would be a good. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try because a crypto roundtable would be like kind of cool. I was talking to Brian Armstrong. He doesn't want to talk right now. They want to talk to like non-tech press right now. He told me. So that would be a good one. A crypto roundtable. We did real estate. What other topics are hitting, Molly? We're hitting.
I mean, you should probably do a national security roundtable about TikTok, don't you think? Like that would be pretty awesome, actually. I mean that sincerely.
Yeah, no, I agree. When we had
Hellberg.
Hellberg is pretty good.
I mean, you had Brendan Carr, but it just would be interesting to talk about like people in social who are trying to build those competitors. Like, what does that landscape look like? I would listen to the crap out of that.
Be kind of cool is to talk to people who are investing in China. Yeah.
Like, actually that woman who spoke, Claire at All In.
Vilke.
Like she was
Claire
so
was great.
Good and so smart. And I would sort of love to hear you talk to her about that directly.
You know what might be good too is I really like Nate Silver. Nate Silver and Tim Urban were very good. That might be an interesting pairing too. We're looking at summit guests who we brought in. All right, let me we'll take it offline. Is my
What's
camera
up, Noties? Noties are suggesting Lon and Ryan Peterson.
Ryan Peterson,
always great. Not necessarily together.
Oh, okay. I was
sorry.
I'm looking for pairings.
Those were two separate suggestions.
What are your favorite shipping movies?
Castaway.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Lon's like, here are my favorite streaming TV shows about logistics.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're talking about the Uber quarter, and at Pinterest. What's Pinterest?
Pins.
They crushed it, right?
No.
Putting up numbers.
Didn't lose as much as they were projected to lose. And Elliott Management came out as the largest shareholder, and they just replaced their CEO, with their founding CEO, with like the Google's former head of commerce. So,
and then what else are we talking about? I'm just doing my tweet here.
Dropping it above for the at Locket camera.
Oh yeah, speaking of alternatives to social media and TikTok,
we got a Series A profile of Locket camera and M&A What's the M&A? You guys got to get me all the ticker symbols, have all that done, so I can just cut and paste it. What is Celsius Official?
At Celsius Official.
What is that?
It is an energy drink getting acquired.
Oh, the energy drink, yeah. Got it, yeah. They got acquired, or they sold a percentage in?
Excuse me, they sold a percentage.
Yeah, okay. That's just, which is, you know, kind of M&A-ish, especially when it's a private equity firm, just so we're clear. Here we go. Okay, boom. All right, I got my tweet out. Boom. Now I don't have it on LinkedIn. So can somebody post to my LinkedIn? This. So do we have, like, when
Rachel,
we go on
would you mind
air,
doing that?
like,
I'm
do
writing
we have
up
an
this thing
on-air
in content.
checklist, like
Yes.
what we do right when we're on the first 5 minutes of on air, or no? We have like that.
We did. It's a little different now that it's
Okay.
Zoom, not Restream. So
Okay,
there's just
so let's have
a
an
couple
on-air
different-
punch list. Please redo the on-air punch list. Rachel. And share here. Just so we kind of do the punch, like that's kind of like the takeoff punch list, we could call it. Yeah. Pre-flight punch list. So we make sure everybody's here. All right. So I got my tweet out. That's good. I gotta have my tweet already preloaded. It's too bad the drafts don't work. You know, maybe we should use Buffer. That might be interesting. You guys could put it in Buffer for me, and then I could go from there. Or you could schedule it. That's the other possibility. And then I could go in and change it. Scheduled tweets, I think, go across our cross-platform. All right, 15 thumbs up. Thanks, everybody, for giving a thumbs up to your squad. It is like flying a 737. If you haven't read the Checklist Manifesto, man, that is a life-changing book. Really good book to read. I'm just getting into, Molly, process. All the gains I'm getting in my life are business and joy are coming through process. If you want things to change, you have to have a process, Molly. It's my thesis.
Intentionality.
Yeah. So there's intent, right? And then if the intent gets like written down or codified in some way into a process, then the execution becomes, you know, so much easier. So I just said I'm going to do like a workout every day of some type. And I'm just going to eat the egg omelet every morning and the Caesar salad every lunch. And I'm lucky to have that made for me. So it's boom, it just hits, it lands. So then I just lose weight and I'm healthier. I just made a process out of it.
Yep.
And it just goes better. And same thing with like the business stuff and the podcast stuff, like just having the processes. Hey, we're hiring 3 video editors / producers. So if you know anybody,
let's go, people.
Launch.co/careers or launch.co/jobs. You'll see it listed there. And 2 account executives. We need more salespeople because I'm going to be launching more events and pods. September 8th, we're going to do a meetup in LA, I decided. So mark a calendar if you can make it, Molly.
Okay.
Quick day trip or overnight, I guess, actually, if we're going to do a nighttime party. But got a Silicon Valley Bank offered their space. The after party folks offered their space, which is a house right by in Beverly Hills. So a couple different places. I was thinking maybe like 100 or 200 founders and investors. So we'll have September 8th.
That's a
for
Thursday.
The
we can do the weekend. It's like, I'm stoked.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty cool.
Meetups.
I think meetups are going to be cool. It's time to get out there and meet the fans. Noties, of course, will get preference. So I don't want anybody to post this anywhere. What I want to do is just give a secret URL to the Noties and the Twitter group. Let them fill up all the spots, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And did we, Rachel, make a Google sheet of all the Noties, the people who show up regularly here and get their emails and everything? So we have like a Noties squad. I know we were working on.
Yeah, I actually don't have anyone's email, so that is definitely a good thing I can start on.
So let's try to get to the 100 Noties, like the Nodie 100, I'll call it.
All right.
You know, like there's what do they call it? The Firecracker 500. Did you have that, Molly, growing up, where they would play over Memorial Day and Labor Day weekend, like the top 500 rock songs backwards, and they would just count them down?
I mean, no, I would listen to the weekly one with Casey Kasem.
Now, we had this when we were kids. It was really a cool thing. Like over Memorial Day weekend, we go to the beach, but they would just be playing the top 500 rock songs and they count them down. And it'd be kind of cool because you get to the top 100 and it'd be like really exciting to debate it. Can you guys hear that? With leaf blower?
No, but Zoom mute like suppresses your audio. So
Unbelievable. There's like the loudest leaf blower. Hold on 1 second.
Can't even hear it. Wow.
This is riveting content so far.
I'm not saying I thought to myself that it was a terrible mistake when you said that you wanted to get in and out quickly today. I'm only saying I was like, you ruined it, bro.
Had my window open. I'm actually changing gardeners, Molly. I'm in the process of changing my gardeners.
Yeah.
I'm going to Chamat's gardeners. He has 14 people come and they pick up each leaf and they hand bespoke clean the leaves. They craft them into like a collage. Yeah. And they lay them out,
Yeah. Similarly, I just realized that all the plants in my front are dying because I thought that my sprinkler system was working, but apparently the outlet died. So I called an electrician.
This is what happens.
There you go.
California. You realize you live in the desert in California because your water at some point or your fuse will blow and your irrigation system will stop. And then everything's dead. You're like, what killed my plants? And you're like, oh, I live in a desert. That's
the good news is it's been many months. This is a highly drought resistant landscape.
I want to go 100% drought resistant.
Lilacs. That was my fault. They're kind of water needier.
It's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, you gotta go. I have this whole theory because I think shaming is going to be part of our climate future. Like everyone should rightly shame, what is it, Kylie, who took the 7-minute private jet plane ride.
I think they were repositioning the plane.
Appalling.
I don't think she was flying it.
Okay, well,
anyway. I don't want to defend. I find myself in the awkward position once again of defending the Kardashians, like you defending China.
I know, totally. They still have that, like the his and hers private plane. Like these things are objectively terrible for the environment, like the yachts and all of that stuff, right? So, but I don't think.
Did I mention I'm getting the This Week in Startups plane, and you will have 40 hours a year on it? Did I mention that, Molly? That when I get to play, you as the co-host get 40 hours.
Let's just
cross totally corrupting Molly.
Let's just cross that jet bridge when we get to it, okay?
Molly was in a board meeting today. She's like, "Can we use contractors? Because I think they wouldn't have benefits, and they would be like much more efficient for us to get the
benefits are really expensive. Like you should not be paying people full-time salaries. That's insane." Anyway, I want to
turning you into a free market monster.
I want to start this I want to use the free market to make it cool.
Yes.
To decarb. Yes. Like I want to see like Leonardo DiCaprio, like that's great that you started a fund or whatever, but I also want to see your like off the grid tiny house, or you're like, I got rid of my jet thing, or like I just think there's positive propagation that can happen around lifestyle change. That's the only way it ever like creates a market and lasts. Shaming does a little bit, but it probably just makes people like dig in. But yeah, Taylor Swift, a climate criminal.
Really?
Yes.
She's on private tour. Jet. I mean, you can't do a tour without
her
a private jet.
Racked up a total of 170 flights.
Okay.
And emitted 8,293 tons of CO2 since the start of just 2022. The average flight time was 80 minutes.
Okay.
Somebody could have driven her there in a Tesla.
Okay, hold on a second.
Do you know the carbon emissions per like cross-country flight compared to a consumer vehicle? I think it's like every flight from LA to New York is like 35% of a year's worth of one.
I think what you have to look at is,
you also have to look at the gallons per person on a commercial flight versus private. And private jets have way worse fuel, like actual gas mileage. Yes. They actually use more fuel than a commercial jetliner, and you have this like unbelievable per person.
Yes, this is why, Molly.
This is why I don't fly private, by the way.
No, this is why when my friends are flying somewhere private, I always jump on. Because if they've only got 2 people on, I've just increased the efficiency of that flight massively. So I always take one for the team and I jump on flights just to do that because it helps. Every little bit helps. But that's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah. Climate Jesus, Jason.
I'm not saying I'm a climate hero or climate Jesus, but I am using a metal straw right now as we speak, and this is I
made his own coffee.
I cold brewed my coffee.
You can drive anywhere for that.
Exactly. Exactly. And then, when I'm done with the cold brew, the big tin, I get the oversized tin of ground coffee from what's CDM? It's a really cool chicory brand. I use that and I make a drum out of it for my drum circles. And so when I go with my guys, we have drums to bang our drum circle. No, I think the per person is the key thing. But for some people, I say this way, in defense of Taylor Swift, I bet a large number of those flights. I would like to
That's
net
what
out
you should title your next book. In defense of Taylor Swift.
In defense of Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Well, apparently,
in defense
to
of
be
private
fair,
aviation.
apparently
It's
she
not
loans
too
it.
far off from the title of my new book, which I won't say here. But
She does loan it out a lot. Like she wasn't even on most of those flights. It wasn't
I
just
think-
her like being on tour.
yeah, in fairness, that was her chef bringing her vegetables from Napa to her house in
Bring her in,
Calabasas.
endangered alligator hors d'oeuvres.
That'd be so great if they were just like killing manatee to bring her like manatee curd pie.
We just need to I don't even want them to have to change their lifestyle. I just want the electric plane to fly, to do the
It's
regional
coming,
flights like that. Like it's totally coming.
Or for them to stop lecturing people about climate when they're taking
That
private
would be
flights.
That's
That's
the
what I
thing,
would
right?
prefer. You can be a
Yes.
scumbag, just don't lie about it.
Like Leo, you got some
Yeah,
major lifestyle changes to make if you're going to
here's what
hold
I
yourself up as climate Jesus here.
I think if you're on tour, and you've got like a group of people from the tour on the plane, it probably is close to the carbon footprint of flying commercial. And in fact, when like teams fly, like NBA teams or football teams, they're on what is essentially like a regional jet that's just been decked out for bigger humans, like all large seats, and it's probably neutral. So really, what it is people flying alone, commercial. That is real. Or two people flying on a commercial jet alone. That really is.
Kind of, but even like a cross country jet is going to be 100 to 200 to up to 300 people. So even if you've got 30 people on a private jet, that
But
still
a
is not the same.
16 person jet is going to be a fraction of the size and the fuel. So anyway, I don't know what the exact calculation is, but we should actually
Right.
have that.
People have done
calculation.
it but
because
it would be good to have.
with Uber up today, 15%, the
Mhm.
chances of me flying private are increasing. This only has to go up 15% for like 9
He's
more
like,
days.
I want the plane.
If 9 more days, I'm going to have a This Week in Startups jet. So let's go easy on. There must be carbon offsets. If we invest in some carbon thing, I think it just, if we fly somewhere and invest in a carbon offset company, would that
That would be better.
would that work for you? I'm
That'd be
just
better.
trying to.
I would go places on the plane if we bought the offsets.
Well, here's the thing. I was thinking about the live golf thing. I've taken a pretty hard line about taking Saudi money, yada, yada. And then I saw, did you see today,
And then I changed
Tiger
my
Woods
mind. Yes,
was
turned
offered
down.
$700 to $800 million, so almost $1 billion.
That's what I'm
Which
talking
means
about.
if they
right?
offered 700, 800, he could have said, listen, make it a bill, I'm in.
Right.
And they probably would have given him the billion. Now, let's just say he gets that 800 million, pays his taxes, 400 million. Oh, no, actually, if he gave it away to charity, there'd be a tax break. Let's just say he said, I'll do it if it's an $800 million donation to the foundation, tax free. Okay. If he gave $800 million to the families of people who have suffered and who are refugees from countries with human rights, would that be morally better than abstaining from playing in the live golf tournament? Which would be the better moral thing to do? To take their money, play, whatever it is, 10 tournaments, and then have that money go to refugees fleeing authoritarian countries. Now we can play the do music. We'll save that for the end of the show. Should we leave that in the show,
Everybody,
Nick? This
think
has all
about
been
it.
banter just for the noties. This is what you
Everyone
get
just
live.
ponder.
Should we put that in the show? That's like Jason's ethical.
Would
question
he
of the day,
become
Nick?
like an enemy of the state if he immediately took the money and gave it to like a gay rights organization in Saudi Arabia?
I think it would be based on how he did it. Like if he did it like explicitly,
that
and
would be
said,
punk
like,
rock.
it would be, that's what I was thinking. It's like literally the term I used. I like the punk rock thing to do. There's the right thing to do. There's the wrong thing to do.
And then
always,
win all the live events.
there's the punk rock thing to do.
Yeah.
And
While wearing like a rainbow hat and a women's
I
race
kind of
shirt.
feel like it
that
would be punk
super
rock.
Punk rock. Yeah.
It was like the kid who made his own fake badge and punk rock the All In Summit.
I feel like you're creating a movie scene in your head though when you do this. You're creating
I know,
like a
you
movie
can see it
caricature.
actually.
Yeah,
He's sort of
yeah,
like looking
yeah.
off to the side, like,
Yeah.
picture it. I can see
This
it.
is like Jason's world of punk rock cool people, where in reality, Tiger was just like, nah, I'm good.
Tiger's like, what is he going to do? Get a second jet? I mean, it doesn't make a difference.
Because he still would have, yeah. It's.
What do you think in the Noti gang? I'm curious, the Noti gang. Which would you do, the right thing, the wrong thing, or the punk rock thing? And then you could put why. Right, wrong, or punk rock. I'm curious what the Noties think here. While you're there, give us a thumbs up. And let's get started with the show.
Let's do it.
3, 2. All right, everybody. It's a great day for Uber and me. I knew this day was coming. I've talked about it for many years.
I should have brought balloons. You know what? I feel rude. I should have really.
It's a big day for me because I have been saying for years, and in fact, yesterday we talked about managing growth versus profitability. And I said, listen, much like Google can turn a dial and they can pick how many ads they show you, and they can pick the minimum cost per click. The cost per click, I think originally was like a penny on Google, and then they made the minimum 5 cents. Over time, they went from, I think, 2 to 5 cents. Yes, then my QuickTime is on. Uber can turn a dial and pick how much they charge for a ride, right? It's pretty straightforward. And I've said for years, if you just take the number of rides and you divide it by the losses, it was averaging, at the time I had done a couple of years ago, I think 55 cents. Mm-hmm. Total rides, total loss, 55 cents, right? So when they lost $1 billion, they had 2 billion rides, 50 cents a ride. You get the idea, Molly.
Yeah.
Back of the envelope math like we like to do here. Long story short, DK, Dara, my guy at Uber, my second guy, has turned the dial. And today was the day when Uber just took the dial and they dialed it up, and then they just took wheelbarrows of cash and dumped them off the back of the just wheelbarrows of cash dumped into the conference rooms at Uber. Mm-hmm. Piles of cash in the conference rooms. Uber generated $382 million in free cash flow while doubling revenue year over year. Okay, this is both dials, earnings and revenue. Yum, yum. Let's go.
Yum. Which
I told everybody this would happen.
Literally and specifically what Dara said he was going to do, not 1 quarter ago. Mm-hmm. And then lo and behold, he did. And now the magic has been achieved. Free cash flow. 3 little words. The most powerful 3 words in the English language. Free cash flow.
Everybody loves it.
Everybody loves it. Yeah. Should we get into the nitty gritty? The stock is soaring. It's up over 17% this morning. Gross bookings. You just got it. I mean, honestly, I bought a little bit on the open market, and even I am stoked.
Yum, yum. Here we go.
About that. Gross bookings, $29.1 billion. That was up 33% year over year. So we're seeing a couple things happen. One, the dial, and also the fact that people are back out in the world. So yay for that. Revenue up 105% year over year to $8.1 billion. That was a beat on estimates. Uber is on pace for $30 billion in revenue in 2022. Net loss, $2.6 billion. But this included this $1.7 billion headwind of mostly unrealized losses from investments and $470 million in stock-based comp. So the free cash flow ended up $780 million year over year to the total of 382.
Because they lost last
because they lost
in that same quarter, right?
Right.
So, they take out the capital expenditure. So there's still a little fun with numbers going on, in fairness here. Mm-hmm. And you always take out. Uber is a very unique situation. When they couldn't get the gold medal in China or another location, Russia, whatever it was, they would get, 10 to 30% of the incumbent and join forces with them. And that was Travis's brilliant plan that Bill Gurley, I believe, collaborated on. Like, we get the silver medal or the bronze medal, let's collaborate with the winner. Because all of this does, of course, all of these wins compound to the number one player. That's how network effects work. And they've got tons of cash and tons of assets. Stock is up. It's great. I think the lesson here for everybody is something I'm trying to do here live on the program, Molly, and it's been great to have you here because you worked at Marketplace. And I really want to just really become an expert on public market companies in addition to private market companies. Now, I never thought I was like clueless about public market companies, but I want to be an expert. You know, I want to be in the top 10% of investors there because I'm already in the top 1% of investors on the private side. And I think what you have to understand is when you're evaluating a company and you look at pricing power and you look at their cost basis, or their costs, not cost basis, but their expenses. If you can trim expenses and raise costs, that's a very powerful business. And you couldn't do that when you had 7 competitors to Uber or DoorDash. But when you're down to the final 2 players in a space, 3 players, which is really, there's only 2 players in, maybe 2, 3 players in the food business, arguably 2 make up the majority. And then really, there's really 2 players in rides, and internationally, there's many other small players. So the point is, you got to look at this stuff and say, if they did raise prices, what would happen? Would they lose more users than they gained in the revenue coming in? And if they cut costs, what would earnings look like? And this is what we're seeing across the board in big tech: hiring freezes, salary freezes, stock compensation being rethought, and then even layoffs or forcing people to come to the office as a de facto layoff, knowing that 10% won't come back. So that's what we're going to see. And the stock market, this is the way out, right? We wonder, how does the stock market reset, right? And the way it resets is people look at businesses and go, hey, that's a business I could see myself owning. And I look at Disney and I saw the Andor trailer. Did you see the Andor trailer?
Yeah, we should definitely, that maybe should be our show with Lon, huh?
Yeah, we should definitely.
Somebody suggested that to us on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah, good.
I mean, it looks so good.
It looks beautiful and amazing and awesome.
So awesome. So I'm like, okay. And then I saw their Disney plans with Professor X and the X-Men and Secret Wars. I'm like, maybe I need more Disney shares because their strategic planning is pretty great. And so this is how the stock market resets. You lower all the expenses, you reevaluate every business, you go from first principles, is this a really good product or service that people want? Are they willing to pay money for it? And are we spending the right amount of money? And I think for Airbnb, Lyft, DoorDash, everybody, they weren't charging the right price and they were spending too much money. And all of those things got dialed in the last 3 years. And here we are. Airbnb and Uber and DoorDash, I think, are going to be companies 10 years from now. This is not investment advice. That will be worth, for me, I think they're going to be worth 5-10 times what they're worth now. That's my estimate for those companies.
Airbnb does report earnings this week, tomorrow, maybe. Yep. I think Airbnb also reports. Yeah, Uber's, a lot of things are coming together in exactly the right way for Uber right now. And it does include the fact that airport bookings are back to pre-pandemic levels, which meant that this quarter mobility, most of Uber's revenue in the pandemic has been coming from delivery and freight, delivery and freight. But mobility got
just delivery, not freight.
Just delivery, not even freight, right? Delivery has been like so bravo to Uber for having the foresight to see that delivery was going to be a big business no matter what. It kept this company alive during the pandemic without a doubt. And so then now mobility is
roaring
up
back
126% year over year and up 41% quarter over quarter, mostly airport bookings, it was airport alone was 15% of total gross bookings.
I mean, people are on the move. They want to enjoy their vacation. Maybe you go out, you have a couple cocktails. You don't want to get dinged with a DUI or murder somebody. Like this is the promise of Uber, is that you get more flexibility, and it's expensive to rent cars. It's expensive to drive. And so, in some cases it's cheaper. In other cases, it's more convenient. And so great job to the team over there. The other thing to look at is, the trips, the number of trips and the customers, they were up in a nice way, 24% year over year and 24% for trips and 21%. So how do you double revenue? Well, that's where the take rate comes in. Take rate is a fancy word for the percentage you get. And mobility, it was always supposed to be 25%, but they did variable things with spiffs, little promotions for the drivers, et cetera, and discounting to get people on the road on both sides of the marketplace. But the take rate for mobility, 26.6%. In other words, if you spend $100 on Uber, Uber gets $26.60. That's up 8% year over year. And the delivery take rate, which again, they were in a massive discounting war, you remember, that's up to 19.4%. So if you bought $100 worth of dinner for, you know, 6 people or something, $19.40 is what Uber eventually made on that, right? And that's up 4.2% year over year. Again, back to efficiency, turning these dials. When you have a really great business, there are some dials you can change. And the dials, you know, for Uber are becoming predictable. The dials for Amazon, for Google, for Apple, they're very predictable. Apple can pick, you know, how much they want to charge for a phone. So they know their earnings. And they can actually sandbag
their
them
margins. It's
or
just
blow them out.
Yeah.
Yes.
What so Airbnb
that requires though, Molly, extreme product market fit. Sorry, that was my final thought that I forgot to say. You know, if you have these dials, but it's on not a great business, in other words, a business that doesn't have huge product market fit, then you can't play with the dials because you're just trying to keep the plane in the air. But if you have absurd product market fit, you can just move your dials around and pick how much money you want to make. This is chef's kiss for businesses like Uber, and I think Airbnb I would put in this category of now they are becoming similar to Amazon and Google and Apple.
That's what I was going to ask, actually. So Airbnb, I looked it up, reports today. So does PayPal, AMD, EA. But what are the dials for Airbnb?
So the dials for Airbnb,
like how do you, on the same number, it seems to me that their future revenue improvements are going to rely on growth.
Okay. They could change at any point in time what they charge to hosts and what they charge to customers. So that percentage they could change. Now, I don't think they've often changed it, but they could.
Because it's a delicate relationship. Like you do not want to piss off your hosts, because they
of course not
can
but if
potentially go elsewhere.
I think the hosts, what are the hosts like? They give 5%. Somebody can look it up for me.
Yeah.
So if let's just say the number's 5%, they take from both sides, so they get 10% total. I believe that's what it was last time I checked. So if you're a host and you're renting your place for $500 a night, average booking is 4 nights, let's say, or it's $2,000. I'm just making up numbers here. $2,000, and you're paying 5%. It's $100. So let's say you made it 7%. Now you're paying 140. Are you going to, cancel? I don't think so. So there you go.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what those earnings look like over time. It seems less obvious to me what Airbnb can do to increase revenue without increasing users. And that means having hosts, and that means having inventory.
Yeah, but where are you going to go? If you're a host and you take yourself off Airbnb, you literally lose 90% of your bookings.
Or you rent your house out because rents are at an all-time high.
You could lose inventory. So this is the delicate balance. And so one might argue they have less pricing power.
Right. That's what I'm saying, is I think they have a little less, they have fewer dials, right? Revenue, like Uber can raise prices and I'm still going to do it. Airbnb, it might be a little trickier. And I'm, if I'm evaluating these two things as a 10-year stock, I'm not sure that they have so many obvious paths to increase revenue.
Most guests pay 14.2% of the booking subtotal, nightly rate, cleaning fee, additional guest fee, if applicable, excluding Airbnb fees and taxes. And for a split fee, which I think is both sides pay, the host is charged 3%. So it's I kind of feel like, I guess it's a debate going on with the producers. Is Airbnb essential?
Right.
You feel it's essential or not, Molly? Because you're an Airbnb user.
I am an Airbnb user. I'm about to stay in one in Mexico City, but I don't think it's essential.
You're going to
like
Mexico
push comes
City?
to shove, I'll stay in a hotel.
Jelly.
And I know, you should come down.
I know. I really want to go to Mexico City.
It's like kind of a hipster locale right now.
I heard the food,
I didn't realize it's like
art,
a thing.
Everything's amazing.
Yeah. Come on down. We're gonna be partying in Mexico City. But I don't.
Oh,
I actually
this
really
startup's jet. Perfect.
There you go.
But I'll come solo. I'll just come for the night.
No, just come for the day. Just
Come for the day.
fly down in the
Come in for
morning, fly
lunch.
back in the afternoon. It's great.
Exactly.
Private jet, boom.
I think it's
do
essential.
not think it's essential. I think
do
that you
think
can
it's essential.
always default to a hotel. There will always be, there's other platforms for renting houses. And frankly, a hotel will cook and clean for you.
Okay, I take it back. It's not essential. It's not essential.
Yeah.
I always think it's essential because with a family, I like to have the kitchen and everything. But now that I'm thinking it through, the last couple of times I did travel, we got 2 hotel rooms with adjoining rooms, and we went to the restaurant or room service, and the girls like that more.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
pool.
Like it's
So-
great for what it is, but it's not essential. And I think you just see on Twitter, and I'm not trying to bash Airbnb. It's like,
No.
right? Like this is all, I'm just sort of, as I think about which stock would I want to own, or what are the, like Airbnb has made attempts to diversify. And I will tell you the other thing we did in Mexico City is book several of their experiences, because those are great.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You used Airbnb experiences?
Yeah,
I
those
have
are
never used
fantastic.
them. Really?
And like sometimes you'll look up a tour on a website and find the same one on Airbnb for like cheaper and easier
Is
to
this a
book.
group trip or a couple trip?
Mm,
I'm not
that's-
too. Not okay. I'm just curious what's going
It's a
on.
group
here.
trip.
This-
It's a group
Oh,
trip.
okay. It's a group.
Yeah.
That's why I just want to know if I'm invited. Like, is it a group thing?
Yeah, no,
or
pop on
we're gonna
down.
roll with a posse.
It won't be weird.
It won't be weird. Okay. So yeah, throw a meal or something. Because we're having a romantic
No.
time. And
No, no,
all
no.
right. Anyway, I just want to say congratulations to the team at Uber, past, present, future, everybody. Great job. And that's why I'm still holding a very large position in Uber. And I'm not J trading. I have too much of it. I was thinking of putting a J trade on a couple of weeks ago because I was like, it feels like after he went to New York and talked to all those hedge funds, it'd be a good J trade to put on. But I didn't want to put a J trade on because I already have a huge position. But I am thinking about Warner Brothers as well for a J trade.
Really?
Well, it turns out Warner Brothers Discovery has been spun out. It's its own holding company.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this guy, Michael Burry. Do you know this guy who's the guy from The Big Short? All right, he deletes all his
I'm
tweets.
not up on any of this Warner
He
Brother. I gotta
deletes
get in on
each
this.
tweet. I think it's Burry.
Okay.
And he's a really smart cat. And he's got a hedge fund and his positions are public. And so I used Zapier to create a Twitter room on our Slack. So Zapier to Slack with a Twitter room where Michael J. Burry's tweets, you know, he deletes each tweet.
Mm-hmm. I
In
don't
real
know
time.
anything
So
about
his
this
tweet
guy,
goes-
so I'm
Okay.
learning along with the
Michael J.
notice.
Burry. Can we
Yeah.
just pull it up for everybody
Fascinating.
to see, Nick?
There's a whole story about it in Seeking Alpha.
So he deletes his tweets in real time.
You want me to pull up our Slack room?
No, we don't. Yeah, I guess you could. Just don't show. Yeah, don't show the other names of the rooms. But if you just show the,
Yeah, I
Can't
gotta
do that.
figure out how to hide.
you can take a
this.
screenshot of it. Anyway,
Okay.
you
There
can take
you
a screenshot of the last one.
Screenshot.
I have his tweets come into a Slack room with Zapier because it makes me happier. Because he
Happier,
deletes his
totally.
tweets. I can't keep up with it.
Zapier.com/twist free trial.
Zapier.com/twist for free trial. He's putting the show. But I like his tweets and he says like really provocative things, but he deletes them within like, I don't know if it's 6 hours or 12 hours. So like he tweeted at 9:04 a.m. today and it's Michael J. Burry.
Mm-hmm.
So you click on that tweet, it's now at the taping of this 10:46, it's gone. And so you have to like be on alerts with him or something to see his tweets. I don't know. I think he got in trouble with the SEC, but his portfolio is available online. And as I become a J trader, so there you see what I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can
Nice.
see I created that thing. So if you were to do a search on Twitter, I'm sorry, if you do a search on Google, on the Google, you can find his portfolio online. And in his portfolio, I guess it's Data Roma is his hedge fund, I think. No, Scion Asset Manager. And Data Roma is this place where you can find it. So let me show you this. This should be in the show too, by the way. So I guess Scion Asset Management is his hedge fund or his investment company.
Yes.
They have $165 million in portfolio value. This is for Q1 2022. And it looks like WBD, Warner Brothers
Mhm.
Discovery, is his, at the time, was his third largest holding.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's gotten crushed. But this is who owns HBO Max and Discovery. And Zaslav, who I talked to when I was doing a reality TV show back in the day,
he just became CEO of the merged company, right?
And he's the CEO of the merged company. This guy is a hardcore guy. I saw him at like a special conference you're not supposed to talk about, give a talk, and he is baller. So anyway, I am now really looking at WBD. This is going to be possibly my next J trade. And this is not, Molly, investment advice.
No. We're just talking here. Just a couple of friends hanging out in Mexico City, having a chat about stuff.
That's it. And I'm not saying I'm going to put a trade on right now. But
if you were watching on video, you might have seen the telltale head drop that says, I'm looking at my phone now.
I would never just pop into my...
I like Uber Bonanza Day. It's got fun energy. It's a fun energy day.
Daddy's feeling good today.
It's a fun day.
Now, hold on. Let me take a little
Warner Brothers. Yeah. So the Seeking Alpha,
while my grandpa glasses on here.
While Jason looks at his phone for no reason at all,
I will today.
Note that on July 25th, Seeking Alpha wrote about this Burry holding and said the combination of Warner Media and Discovery created a true media giant, arguably at par with Disney and Netflix. The stock has been off, but that could be good news if you felt like you like a big sale at the stock store.
Well,
usually these mergers are a red flag, right? Like you saw like the Turner one fall apart. So it's kind of interesting that this is one of the few that, at least according to this article, are saying, you know, the combination of the assets creates this huge content library, 200,000 hours of video content. The assets are complementary because Disney's got a lot of nonfiction and Warner Media has fiction. And then, of course, continuing the quote, the deal will support a focused streaming platform that may compete with Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Disney Plus. And this is one where, like, it's really hard to compete. Are we done? Are we ready?
Are we done?
Can I stop tap dancing?
Yes, thank you.
Molly, I think you said Disney, you meant Discovery has a lot of nonfiction?
Discovery has a lot of nonfiction, yes, and Warner Media has a lot of fiction.
All right,
thanks.
The J trade is on.
Oh, what do you know?
Not investment advice, but when you see the grandpa glasses go on, listen, I'm not saying, Vlad, that you're using a font size that only a 30-year-old can read. But like I've got my font size ratcheted up on my iPhone 13 Max grandpa settings.
Over at Fidelity, where the grandpas trade, I think you can make that font as big as you want.
God almighty. This is like the fonts on Robinhood. This is not an ad for Robinhood yet. But
Fidelity's app is like Comic Sans font size 900.
It totally is, yes.
Oh my God, there is.
But the daily trading limit is like $1 million.
It's one of the greatest memes I've ever seen. It was like a video. It might have been like on a bar stool. Oh, there it is. WBD order is in. I just bought 3,000 shares at $16.26, 48 grand on WBD. I've been waiting to make this trade.
Not investment advice.
This is not investment advice, but I just made a big J trade. And we got to put this in Prometheus, by the way. Here's the thing. We are going to have 3 sponsors for J trades. They're not going to be like ads in the show, but I'm going to like have like maybe a charting company, a trading company, a community. And when I do the J trades, we'll mention those folks. So we'll be able to monetize the J trades, if we will. But I really believe Warner Brothers I was thinking of who's going to be number 1 and who's going to be number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I believe these are the number 1 and the number 2 in streaming. I believe streaming is beat up right now.
These being Disney and Warner Brothers.
Disney and
Is that what you mean? 1 and 2?
Yes, because here, look, Disney, Hulu, ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good trifecta, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Then I go Warner Brothers, DC Comics, Discovery Channel, and HBO Max.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Who's going to get to 1 billion subs if you added then in Amazon and Netflix? And that's your foursome. I think I know who's coming in first and second. And I believe there will be a 1 billion subscription service very soon in our lifetimes, is what I mean by very soon. And if it is, what would that even look like? Just think about the amount of money that would print. Mm-hmm. If it was but $4 or $5 a month, because you have international is much cheaper, obviously. Let's just say it was a $5 average globally. $60 billion a year?
Yeah, that's
in
crazy.
Revenue?
Yeah.
Subscription? What could you do with that? Like the entire NBA, all the teams in the NBA are worth 60 billion, like it's an NBA ownership of the NBA every year, probably.
Yeah.
You could afford to buy anything or build anything.
Yep.
It's bonkers. It's bonkers. And DC, by the way, it's completely mismanaged. And so Zaslav's going to get in there. I've seen this guy up close. I've been in a business meeting with Zaslav. He's no joke. And I've seen him speak. This guy's like a hardcore guy. He's like the Slutman of the entertainment industry.
So interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like a general. Like this is the guy you would want. Like if there's a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like this is the guy you'd want to be in his town, right? He'd run it fair, but he'd have a strong hand. Like, you'd be safe from the zombies and the other tribes. So I like it for that reason. I think he's going to come in and the DC team is all fired. You guys, this is what's going to come in. He's going to give the speech, Molly. Why? What made Marvel so successful? And they're going to go around the table. And everybody's going to talk about the 5 things Marvel did right. And he's going to go, well, why are we not doing that? And it's going to be crickets.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to say, all 5 of you, thank you for your service. Your desks have been cleaned. There are cars waiting for you downstairs with your boxes in the back. You're fired. I don't want to ever see you. You're a disgrace. And your services are no longer needed by Warner Brothers Discovery. Everybody's fired. En masse. Start over. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
When he does, oh my Lord. Okay, sorry. I'm
All
getting a little
right.
excited.
No,
I'm into wartime CEOs, watching what happened with Uber.
Yeah.
I'm into the wartime CEO right now. I think.
Do you know if Warner
high on
owns
life,
Sony now?
No.
Possibly.
Sony owns Sony. No. Sony owns Sony.
Because Sony owns the DC
Columbia.
assets, right? And wasn't that the big
No. Sony owns Spider-Man. Fox owned Fantastic Four and X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And those assets have all come home to Marvel with the exception of still Spider-Man, which they have a relationship with Sony, Columbia Pictures.
Gotcha.
Marvel, when Marvel was struggling, they sold each of the characters to any movie company who would buy them for $5 million. But the rule was they had to make a movie every 4 years based on the character, or they lost the license. Which is why you've had like 4 Fantastic Four movies, 3 or 4 of them that were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom. And that's why the X-Men keep coming out. Even though you're like, should this X-Men really be coming out? And it's like, yeah, X-Men's still coming out. But now that's why Fox was bought by Disney. It was Fox that was bought by Disney. All right, let's talk about Pinterest.
This is such an interesting story. Pinterest also up almost 20% in after hours trading after it did not tank. Like, I mean, we're not going to sit here and say these were, booming earnings. It was not like a giant banger of a report, but it didn't tank. And that was good enough for everybody. Also, what I think is super interesting about these earnings is that, first of all, it was like barely a miss. Revenue was up 9% to $666 million, which we'll assume is not some sort of a curse. But it was revealed in a release separate from Pinterest's earning report. Because you remember like a month ago, and we sort of noted it in passing, if at all, Pinterest founder Ben Silbermann left as CEO and became executive chairman, which was sort of a kind of moment. And then in this report, this release that was put out separate from the earnings report, Elliott Management confirmed, Elliott Management, of course, the activist investor group that most recently tried to push out Jack Dorsey at Twitter, confirmed that it is now Pinterest's largest investor and said it has, quote, conviction in the company and its new CEO, who recently was Google's former president of commerce, payment, and next billion users, Bill Reddy. So he knows a little something about making money. And we listen, like there's no evidence that Ben left because of Elliott Management, but one assumes that some conversations were had.
This is the great part about the public equity market. And this is why I want to really learn how it works. I think the reason Bill Gurley became the GOAT was because he was a public market investor that went private. I think it's better to be a private market investor. I think it's more fun. So I don't want to not be that. But I think he understood it when he was a public market analyst. I think famously he covered I think he worked with Mary Meeker and all those folks, and he covered Amazon in the early days, which is why Bezos was like, yeah, it's one of the smartest cats I know. And I think people like Elliott Management, I know they have a bad name and people are like, they're sharks, whatever. But when you go public, you now have this, backstop of if the company is being truly mismanaged and it doesn't have like a super voting structure like New York Times and Facebook does, these folks can come in and they can activate activism and, be a little sand in the oyster that perhaps could make a pearl. I don't think that always happens, but one of the things in the private markets that we've gotten wrong is making people God kings. I would say God queens as well, but there's no example of a God queen female CEO being given what the New York Times, Facebook. I think there's one other company that has the superstructure. I guess Google has it too still.
Shopify has it now.
Shopify does have it, yeah. So anyway, there's like a half dozen God kings who have given themselves this power. It's dysfunctional. It's brilliant if the founder is truly extraordinary, but it is quickly dysfunctional if they're not. And I think it's something that, I hate to say this, because I am a free market monster, but now that I'm studying the public markets, I'm joking, I'm not a free market monster. I don't know if these things should exist. I'm wondering. Now, you do have the option to buy the company or not, right? You don't have to own Facebook. But I'm also wondering, like, maybe we shouldn't allow this forever. Maybe there should be some greater controls of public entities. So if you want to take the public's money, should you be able to say, I have 100 votes to your one? I don't know. I don't want to flip-flop here, because in the past I've said, it's, you have the option to not buy that. While that's true, these companies also do seem to get awfully powerful.
Yeah. And they're
I
included
think governance is important.
Exactly. They're included in indices. They're included in pension packages. They're included in 401ks. Like, there is broad public exposure to these companies. And so governance really does matter. Like, that is in theory what the SEC is supposed to exist for, is to protect investors. And if you're giving a CEO ultimate power at a publicly traded company, there is going to always eventually emerge some tension there.
Yeah. I guess I like your argument as well, that all these like pensions own it as well. Now they have the option of not owning it, but the indexes are the indexes. And sometimes they index the top 100 by market cap, revenue, whatever. So they kind of get dumped in there. I don't know. I have to think this one through. Now that I'm becoming a public market investor, I really have to think this through, because I have always been for founder control, especially in private companies, or founders having, strong controls in place. Because I do think the previous model, where Tony Perkins and other folks would replace the CEO as the general course of, it was the accepted best practice in Silicon Valley, up until the 90s when it started to change. And that was actually the founding story of Founders Fund and the whole Sean Parker versus Michael Moritz story. You do want to have control so the founders don't lose their companies early, because that would generally be bad. But for public companies at a certain size, I'm starting to wonder.
I like this learning mindset. I like this lifelong learner mindset here. Because I don't have a hard and fast opinion on it either, but it does feel like it doesn't, I mean, there's just something that fundamentally doesn't feel right about it, right? It's like somebody will, what did Nick just put in the chat? Warren Buffett said, buy companies that are so great an idiot can run them, because one day an idiot will.
It's so true, right? And so
yeah,
I am wondering, maybe there's like, you can have it for the first 10 years as a public company, or maybe it decays 10% a year. So you could have the super voting shares for the founder for 10 years when they go public, or, whatever, plus 20 years, but it goes down 5% a year. So eventually the company becomes, more vested in the public. I might like something like that. Where, because I understand, like, if I took my company public, I'd be like, listen, I want you to be able to buy shares in it, and I want it to freely trade, but I want to make the decisions here. I don't want to have, activists come in here and, steal it from me. But then maybe you should just stay private. So maybe there's a third way, is what I'm getting at. Maybe there's a third way.
I wonder if this is what what Eric Ries was trying for with the long-term stock exchange. Like if
Yeah,
that,
it
because that
was.
was sort of founder friendly, founder control oriented, but maybe in a slightly
It
different.
was more for, as he explained it to me, holding your shares for a certain period of time. So if I agree, I'm going to buy Pinterest or Uber at whatever share trade it's spent, I promise I'm going to keep it for a year or 2 or 5. And if I buy it, the company will sell me those shares at a 20% discount if I agree to hold it for 5 years.
Right.
So it's, again, a third way. So interesting innovation. But, Pinterest is now making, what is this, 666 was their exact revenue. They should have stopped it at 665. That's not a good sign, dude.
No, dude, that's punk rock. That's like biting a head off a bat in your earnings.
That's rock star.
Yeah, that's sick.
Six. All right. So Pinterest has the sign of the devil for their earnings. Ronnie James Dio. Here we go. Iron Maiden. So rock on.
Ben Silverman just destroyed a hotel room last night.
Yeah, he literally just
guitar through the window.
He definitely did.
Well, in fairness, they did sacrifice a lamb on the top of the Pinterest building on Bryan Street,
which is how they
they hit 666. They all got pentagram tattoos.
Yeah, there's Pinterest. A pentagram spray painted on the Pinterest headquarters right now on Bryan Street.
I really think that we are like 1 nanosecond away from creating a new conspiracy theory that Pinterest is actually like satanic, and that's where all the like somehow
I told you my daughter,
the QAnon people are going to get a hold of this and be like, oh, I knew it.
I told you my daughter asked me if the Illuminati was real and if I was in it, because she was talking to her friends, and I looked at her and it was, I gave her the Tony Soprano thing. The Illuminati is an urban legend, and it's an insult to entrepreneurs and people who have worked very hard their whole lives to help make this country better. Or the Illuminati is, and I don't want to talk about it again. The Illuminati is not real.
It's a stereotype.
It's a stereotype, and it's insulting to entrepreneurs. That's literally what I told her. And she was like, no, really. Are you in the
like, yeah, but for real, though, are you in the Illuminati?
I was talking to my friends.
And you were all, kinda.
And I was like, fine, Illuminati. Anyway, 666 million, up 9% year over year. It's slow growth.
Yeah.
They're losing a little bit of money, 43 million. It's not a big deal, but look at the monthly active users. That's impressive.
433 million, bigger than Twitter. It was down 5 million year over year, but it did beat estimates.
I got to know how many of their monthly active users are search driven. That would be very interesting to know. Like
that
how many
doesn't really,
because
you do end up with a lot of search results that send you to Pinterest. That happens to me all the time. And then I get super irritated because if you click on it in a just regular old browser, then it's like, do you want to open the app or do you want to log in or whatever? I'm like, I just want to view the result. Like it's super irritating.
What they're trying to do, it's like what
I'm a Pinterest user.
LinkedIn and Pinterest do the same thing, which is they think if we get you into the app, we can reduce our dependency on Google search and we get more people to download the app.
And we take your data and we get your data.
Well, it's more about just owning the user like Amazon does, like getting people to come directly. And so it does work. I would do the same thing. And if I'm being honest, but it is annoying at times when you just want to look at the profile in your browser window and it launches the app. So what I do is the way to get around this, I believe, is right mouse click, open in a new tab, or I have my middle mouse, which is a scroll wheel that you can press. I set up my scroll wheel to do that. So try that next time if on an image for Pinterest and see if it opens it up without launching an app.
Mostly I just move on now. Although I do use Pinterest. I actually got like a super good crafting idea from Pinterest over the weekend. I did it. I crafted. Pinterest.
Crafting's kind of cool. I'm
a woman of varied interests. Oh my, I made the cutest I inherited my grandmother's collection of tiny travel spoons, which I was like, oh God, I'm going to put these on eBay.
I like those actually. I think those are dope.
Then I made them into these beautiful modern shadow boxes and I like spray painted one of her holders.
I like
and made
a good
it all,
shadow
like,
box.
Boho chic. I'm really freaking proud of my
Look at this. Rachel's obsessed with this
situation.
Pinterest. I think you and Rachel should do like this week in crafting. We'll do like
Rachel and I are like mother and daughter. We're like into all the same stuff, which means I'm too old.
I think you're like Rachel's.
That I do.
You're like Rachel's wacky aunt from Berkeley. I think that's actually what you are.
I want to be a wacky aunt.
You're Auntie Mo.
Wacky aunt. Wacky aunt.
Like, you know what? I got in trouble at Coachella. I can't talk to my mom. But
But you can tell me.
I got invited to Coachella, but
Oh, that's
I need to
awesome.
talk. All right, but they got 2.6 billion in cash. This is a kind of a big number.
Yes, this is a big number.
So
sure.
they're in good shape.
Mhm.
I don't know what the market cap is right now, but let's see. It's an advertising-based business, right? There's nothing but advertising business. They have not come up with a subscription business. There is no such thing as Pinterest Pro, right?
I do not believe that is the case. Correct.
And I think they make e-commerce revenue is a big part of it too. So that was the big thing when I remember the early days of Pinterest that was being pitched to me was Pinterest is going to be the next Google Shopping or Amazon. That actually has not happened.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yes.
Which
I
is
don't
why this
think that
new guy is in here. This Bill Reddy is here because he's ready to create an Amazon competitor.
Heyo, because yeah, they just have sort of underemphasized the shopping part. And now I have definitely noticed that when you go to Pinterest, there's like shop or explore, and you default to shop.
But when you shop, are they delivering it, or are they? Do you put it in a like a shopping cart, or are they just getting paid for click to dump you to a Shopify site or an Amazon site?
I think they're just getting paid to dump you.
Basically, just a bunch of ads, like Google
It's just
Shopping.
a bunch of ads. Like I think it's like a Shopify situation.
Yeah. See, they need to buy Etsy. What's
They
Etsy's
do.
market cap? They should use this cash to buy Etsy, or they
Actually,
should just
that's
compete
true.
with Etsy.
Because I love Etsy. I shop there all the time.
I know this is what Shopify needs to do. They need to just not. If I'm in charge,
This should happen. Pinterest.
yes,
not Shopify.
Pinterest needs to buy. I'm sorry, Etsy. Now they're similarly sized companies, so there should be a merger.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the greatest merger ever.
This is so
you don't have
smart.
to change anything about
Ever.
Etsy. Ever. Etsy just carries on.
Come on.
But
Nick. Ever.
Some good mergers.
Etsy just stays the
Oh,
same.
you're hilarious.
When your Etsy merchandise is on Pinterest, you can add to shopping cart and you get free delivery if you come from Pinterest or something. And then they should use Pinterest when somebody posts something on Pinterest, say, did you make this? And would you like it to be on Etsy? It would be the easiest thing in the world to link up. Oh my God.
Yeah.
In the back channel, I'm seeing pictures of these goddamn spoons.
Look
That
how
is
freaking
so
cute.
amazing. Wait, are those all yours?
Oh, this is
Oh
like
my
a
God,
third
look at
of her
the glue
collection.
gun.
I used a glue gun. I glued these like spoons onto. I bought white backing for the shadow boxes. I spray painted one of her old ugly wooden holders and like put
Oh
new
my
hooks on
God.
it.
Can we show the one
I'm so
with
proud.
the blue shield?
Love
Like
this
the Captain
one.
American shield one?
Yeah, like Captain America shield.
This one is great.
Isn't
It
that
looks
so pretty?
distressed. Did you make
I
that?
distressed it. I spray painted it and then I used a sander and some matte and
Ah.
I distressed it. Like, who am I even?
I love it.
I'm a crafter.
I listen, this is what
It's
I
not my
like
normal
about
thing, but-
this one is, are the spoons now removable so you can take one
Oh
down?
yeah, I can swap them
pass it
out.
around. Look
Yep.
at what Molly's doing here.
Look at
I
that.
think now each of those spoons is worth what, like $5-10 or $3?
Yeah,
if you
something
buy
like
them?
that. I mean, I probably could have eBayed the whole collection for a couple $100.
Okay,
But it's like
here,
a lifetime of my grandmother's travels, you know, like I couldn't
so awesome.
bring myself to do it.
My mom bought these things from the World's Fair, and she has a collection of them from the World's Fair. And she's been buying them off of eBay for years. I think she probably lost money net on buying them, but I want to do something similar for my mom with her collection. This would be amazing. What I like about the boxes, you know, it frames them, but I like your hanging one much better because you could actually touch them and take them down
And look
stir
at
your
'em.
coffee with them and put it back.
Well, I kept a whole bunch of, there's just some little ones that I'm like, I need to develop a caviar habit because they're just cute
Yes.
little spoons, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or cocaine, either one, whatever you're into. You can
You
just,
know,
whatever.
they both
Or
start
both.
with a C.
Yeah. Caviar or cocaine, whatever.
Whatever.
Whatever grandma was
It's all
into.
very 80s, you know?
I don't know, who knows?
Whatever
If
grandma was into, exactly.
You know, back then they were putting it in Coca-Cola.
Caviar bumps. That's right, Azar.
They do call them that. I was at a party and
They
were
do?
calling it. Yes, caviar
that's
bumps is a
hilarious.
literal thing like that. You'll see an eater and whatever. It's taking caviar and putting it on your hand, like between your thumb and your index finger, and then eating it like off of your hand, I guess.
God, rich people are weird.
All
right.
It does get weird. All right.
Should we talk about our health? Should we just
yes,
since we're about to
yes.
embark on a lifestyle of private planes, caviar, and cocaine? We're gonna need some
Absolutely.
preventative health care bad.
Man, the private plane is gonna do us in. All right, listen. I am obsessed with healthcare now, and not enough to be like all in on it. I'm saying I'm like super curious in the way I was curious about like calm.com. And I, or in this collaboration with you, Molly, and the Climate Syndicate, the syndicate.com/climate. I'm like climate.
It's like a moment
curious.
we're seeing.
I'm curious.
Yes.
I'm curious. I'm climate curious. I was mindfulness curious, and I am now healthcare curious.
Yeah.
Which is to say, I am, investigating what's going on here because something is changing. And I know Quantify itself was a piece of that, Molly, and it was and watching what people did with Calm. And then I got Fitbod and watching how well that's gone. And then I used the Tonal and the Peloton. There's something happening here where people are taking control of their health.
Yeah,
now,
because they have to, right? When you have time you have a system that's so broken, you can sense that disruption is coming. And we're like right at that hump, I think.
I like that as a playbook, actually, to look for companies possibly is like people are frustrated and they're not going to take it anymore.
Right.
And what do you want to roll their own solution? Like, what do you hate?
Right.
Has always been a great one. What's broken? Like, which company do you hate the most? Oh, I hate taxis.
Right.
Oh, I hate hotels.
Right. I hate cell phone service. Anthony Lewandowski, who we got to back up with, is working on a fixed cell phone service. I'm like, hallelujah.
Here we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
So, Tandis Urban spoke at the All In Summit, and I became friendly with her a couple of years ago, and she was telling me about this thing she was building. Well, they actually launched something called the Land Bee in New York. It's a private club, essentially, where you pay $3,000 a year, which I think is half of what it should cost. I'll put that aside, and we talked to the CEO, Chloe, about this. And then you get a doctor, a wellness kind of person coordinator, and a concierge. And you get this little pod that works. You got 230 people have done this. And people will not shut up about how great it is. And there's a large number of people who could afford $3,000 a year for their health, because if you have a gym membership in New York, that's like $200 a month.
Yeah.
So this does not seem outrageous in terms of pricing, and I think it could change everything. So we did a little interview with the CEO of the Land Bee.
Chloe Harouche, here she comes.
Stick with us. It's a
great intro below.
I gotta find the intro. I'm sorry, I'm lost on the dance floor right now. Okay, here we go. 3, 2.
Hey everybody, it is Tuesday. Welcome back to This Week in Startups. It's a fun one.
Big day for your boy J-Cal. Uber reported Q2 earnings, and it was a monster. Doubled revenue and cash flow positive. Yum, yum.
I know. So we're just in a great mood here at This Week in Startups. Also in a great mood, Pinterest's C-suite. We're talking about the Pinterest Q2 report, which wasn't amazing on the surface, but the stock is up big. There's new leadership, new activist investors, and J-Cal comes up with a great merger idea for this company.
I got the M&A of the century for that. But while we were talking, I made a J trade. I'm very excited about a certain hedge fund manager who owned this particular name. And I just decided to whip out my Robinhood and place a 50K J trade in the middle of the show.
No lie, guys, that happened live. Really did.
It did happen
and
live.
Then
it's not investment advice.
No, absolutely not. It's literally just an impulse buy for this guy up in here.
Yeah. I mean, if you would like to follow a maniac who buys a stock based on another person buying the stock, and they
then
like
CNBC has a show for you.
Yes, it's called J Trading with Jason Calacanis. Oh my God, I should have a CNBC show. Okay, keep going.
I mean, you really should actually. And then we wrap with a great interview with the CEO of the Land Bee, a healthcare concierge service that's totally focused on the idea of healthcare as a customer service experience. What a freaking concept. So great. We love it.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a great show.
Stick with us.
Stick with us.
Outro.
This show's like a ledge. This is one for the ages.
3, 2. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening. I am doing episode 4 of the Blueprint tomorrow.
Yes.
And I am loving doing the blueprint, Molly. It's
The
like
blueprint's
the
so good.
VC segment we do together, VC Sunday Schools. The blueprint is like a new version of that. And my topic tomorrow is having a bias for action.
Oh, I cannot wait. I literally am like stalking the blueprint episodes. I'm like a fangirl. Bias for action. Cannot wait to hear it. Plus, if you would like all of these insights in real time, follow us on Twitter at Jason, at Mollywood, at TWI Startups, and leave a review on your favorite podcast app if you don't mind. And of course, join us on YouTube live every day. YouTube.com/thisweekend.
Oh, it's so great. 200,000 subscribers. Thanks everybody for subscribing. And we'll see you all tomorrow, Wednesday. Stick with us.
Bye-bye.
Great.
Going to be a great week.
Thank you.
Okay.
You want to knock out Series A so we have it banked, and then we have that Lena Khan thing ready to go as well.
What is Series A? Oh, you want to have a Series A bank?
The Locket thing?
Yeah, the Locket,
let's do it.
Series A. We have an M&A. We have
So
a Lena Khan
rolling.
thing.
Let's do
We
it.
have
Let's
some
do it. Let's
extra
keep rolling. Yeah,
time.
let's get this.
Just
She's gotta
bank
go
them.
on
All right,
vacation.
can
Let's
you
bank.
stop your QuickTime?
Okay, stoppy.
Thank you.
Save. Og. Second.
Oh, eight,
J.
oh, two.
Fire. Uberlicious.
What a fun
Fun. Let's have
day. What a fun show.
Let's have a fun show, everybody. All right, so then I upload that to my G drive. Okay, that's uploading.
Search.
Yum skis.
Oh, two. Yummarama ding dong. Yumma doodle doo.
Molly, now that you have a spoon mural on your wall, that is very like cool Berkeley ant.
You are definitely crazy.
I'm
That's
getting
like
more
perfect.
wacky
Yeah,
ant by the
yeah,
minute. I'm sort of like, I'm redecorating. I'm gonna like redecorate, and I was like, I'm gonna go full like jungalo. Like I'm making everything
Yeah.
kind of boho, and it is getting more and more wacky ant by the
That's
second.
fun.
It's all good.
But it
man.
is
No
really
judgment.
fun.
No judgment.
We are tie-dyeing socks soon, yes.
Artsy women, if Etsy and Pinterest merged, would just lose their minds.
Hello.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Who's got
unbelievable.
2 thumbs and is already losing her goddamn mind over this.
Yeah.
My mom, I'm to the point now where like, you know, she just gives me $100 Etsy gift card for like every birthday. I'm like,
Oh,
thank
that's
you.
funny. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, really?
It's where I get my wacky auntie reading glasses at this point. Like you can buy live plants on Etsy. Etsy has actually everything.
Amazon Handmade.
The what?
Amazon Handmade.
Oh, they have an Etsy killer or would be? I didn't even know that existed.
I suggest.
Yeah, it's DIY.
I suggest. What was I going to suggest? We have a lot of really good clips from the show too. The J Trade, the M&A idea with Etsy. Those should be really good if Presh is listening, or if we get Presh in here for the afternoon. He's been doing some really good clips, by the way. Really great job. Unless other people are doing them, I don't know. Okay, let's do Locket. I got to start a new QuickTime.
Yes,
Hold on.
please.
Control
I'm
Shift
recording.
And I will
All
start
right, here we
the
go.
recording.
In 3.
Hold on.
In
Wait,
3.
QuickTime going?
Okay, in QuickTime is going.
Molly?
8, 9, 10.
10.
Okay. And then you
3.
want to do Lena Khan right after Locket, and we'll have like a little 10, 15, 20-minute thing.
Perfect. 3,
Okay.
2. All right. What's going on in Series A and M&A, Molly?
So I don't think this is technically a Series A, but I don't care because it's a super interesting raise in a topic bucket that we've been talking about nonstop.
Right.
Locket.
Mhm.
So we've been talking about the latest in social apps and all this
Yes.
competition, and Locket is one of these new contenders alongside Be Real and Paparazzi
Mhm.
that's just been kind of hot lately and just raised $12 million
Wow.
with investors including OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, Instagram co-founder Mike Krieger, and Quora CEO Adam D'Angelo. So this is so interesting because not only have we been talking about this, Rachel and I talked all about Be Real while you were out and kind of like what the kids are doing and which app everybody seems to be choosing. And it's mostly been Be Real. So I find it very interesting that these kind of like tech veterans and the Instagram co-founder are actually putting their money into Locket. And the conceit with this app is that users can take photos and post them to their friends' home screens in like a widget. And so
Great.
whenever a friend takes a new photo, the old one gets replaced. So if your friends are like really fast, you might miss a post. Or if your friends aren't adopting the app, then you could have the same thing on your home screen for a while.
Yep.
But it also has this 20 friend restriction. And Rachel made us a little video because of course she's like using all of these.
She's very social though, Rachel. I
Very
watch
social.
her on the social. I watch her on Twitter. She's getting quite a following, producer Rachel.
And
this
is hilarious.
She's pretty funny, yeah. Path.com had this as well. There's something called the Dunbar number. You can look it up. Basically, it was a study done by a professor. Basically, it figured out who the connectors were in the world. People who knew a large number of people by first name is how you do the test. So if I said to Molly, hey, how many people do you know with the name Mike? List them all. And I had a Mike, I could list them all. Some people were just off the charts in terms of how many Mikes they knew, right? These are people like me or possibly Molly. In fact, they wrote a story about me in the New Yorker called The Connector, which was based on this concept, the Dunbar number. That was a number that a lot of people in social, in the first wave of social companies, were aware of. And that's how they came up with, on Path, you could only have 50 people. And then I think they made it 200. And Path.com was really beautiful. So if you want the technical definition, Dunbar number, by using the average human brain size and extrapolating from the results of primates, he proposed that humans can comfortably maintain 150 stable relationships. And there were all kinds of tests to kind of prove this theory. And then who, kind of broke through it. And social media, Molly, does help you break this, right? You wind up, who has 150 people in their social networks? Nobody. People have thousands now.
Yeah.
And what these apps are trying to do is bring it back down to a manageable number, which is why you have close friends, I think is the term they use on Instagram, which Instagram and Facebook stole everything from Dave Morin, who originally worked at Facebook. And then actually even on Twitter now, they have close friends, or your circle, actually they call it. And Google, when they did Google Plus, which was their failed attempt to compete with Facebook, but it was really actually a pretty good product, they had a concept of circles where you could create circles and share things with just your circles. Now Twitter's using that same term, which is like your circle on there. So this is the same concept, which is,
I liked circles.
Narrow it down so that you can have a more loosey-goosey discussion, maybe let your hair down a little bit, which is what you say, Molly, you're doing with group chat.
Oh, absolutely. Everything now. Everything. I'm sorry to everybody who is waiting for like fun content on Twitter. It's only text right now. No, but the other thing that I think is very interesting about Locket is that it's like you can have this kind of passive experience. Like Rachel pointed out that she could see someone who isn't very tech native loving this, because if you put this app and the widget on your phone, it's like one of those digital picture frames. Like new pictures just keep rolling in.
Yep.
And it's kind of this nice, I like the idea that it's sort of a widgety picture frame that's just on your phone all the time, and it's only people you really care about.
Yeah.
So this is for those who are watching the video, this is Rachel scrolling through, I guess, the feed of the 20 friends. You can sort of interact, like you can send a reaction to somebody's picture, but you can't comment. So I think it's also sort of trying to take away some of the toxic aspects of this. I mean, I guess you technically still get likes, but you don't have somebody, being like, you look fat or whatever.
Yeah. It's less about like, love me world. I need validation,
right?
Kardashian Instagram nonsense, or TikTok trying to
trend. Or TikTok where it's fed to you, right? This is like, I actually do want to know what my friends are up to. And that's it.
And that's it. I mean, this is one of the things that, I'm trying to do in my life and in our life here on the program is we have the noties. We have like the top 100 fans of the show who come every day, watch live. We know their names. We're collecting their emails. We're going to make the noti 100, like our 100 super fans, just to invite them to come hang out with us and have dim sum or sushi or pizza, whatever, and just chill. So you get to know a smaller group of people, but deeper. And it's kind of fun, especially when you have mass market products or followings. Like we both have 6 figures worth of followers on Twitter. It's a bit overwhelming, right? And it's nice to narrow it down. I think that's a great device here for Locket. It seems like a great idea. The problem with these companies, the challenge, as we're talking about this, is, how quickly is Zuck going to steal this idea and do it better? Right. Which is what he is. He's a mnemonic.
He's probably not going to do it better, but he's going to do it with a network effect that is going to make it unstoppable, right? It doesn't even really have to be better.
He'll take 5 swings. That's true. It has to be just the same, but he tends to take 5 swings at bat, and then eventually he makes it a little better. If you think about Instagram filters, there's many more Instagram filters than on, I believe, Snap, right? So he generally, he generally, I think, overwhelms people by the fifth version, which he stole, by the way. Speaking of stealing, his stealing strategy is stolen from Bill Gates. That's how much of a thief Zuckerberg is. He couldn't even come up with his own way of absconding from ideas.
I like what Bill Gates does. I'm just going to steal.
Literally,
really?
He's a meta thief.
That's hysterical.
You know, like, because he named the company Meta, he's a meta thief. And the reason he's such a meta thief is because what Bill Gates used to do is he'd like, okay, I have a platform, Windows, build me apps. And they're like, okay, here's Lotus 1 through 3 and WordPerfect. He's like, that's interesting. I wonder if I built these in and made Microsoft Office, what that would look like. And he literally built WordPerfect. He built Microsoft Word and Excel, and people laughed at how horrible those programs were compared to WordPerfect. And then by version 5.
Yep. It just kept, you're so right. It just kept getting better.
Version of 3 or 4 of Word, it was parity, and then it got better. And then it was built into the operating system. And that's why they got that FTC action.
DOJ.
Was DOJ. Because they were bundling. This bundling strategy was so good. Bundling, another way of just saying stealing your product and putting it in mind, which is what Zuckerberg does.
Well, and then forcing you to take the whole
and then you have no choice
as a consumer, right?
And then taking away your previous choice and forcing you into it, like they're doing with the TikToks on Reels, right? It's to the point at which people are complaining, like, okay, we get it. You're shoving it down our throats. We don't want it. They did that with the browser. So, and that was where they got themselves in a lot of trouble. And that's why they missed mobile, because they just didn't want to do acquisitions, or they just lost their aggressive edge.
They had they had the DOJ in their business for a decade.
Yes.
Like they were, it cost them employees. It's just such an interesting story.
And now we look at Meta, and this is a great segue.
Yep.
When we talk about M&A, we talked about Lina Khan. She's the incredibly young, incredibly brilliant head of the FTC. And she's taken her first action. She is suing to block Zuck's acquisition of fitness app maker Within Unlimited.
Virtual reality fitness app maker.
That's okay, so to be clear, it's a VR fitness app maker.
Right.
It's
a metaverse, Jim.
It's a metaverse.
In the parlance, I'm going to stop giving them any credit for metaverse. That's so irritating. Also,
it's so annoying.
Also stolen.
So it's stolen and stole the concept of Meta.
Let's just Meta. From now on, new rule: we only say virtual reality. They don't get the rebrand.
They don't get the rebrand. So they entered an agreement in October of 2021, this past October, for $400 million to buy this. Totally insignificant in terms of the size of this deal. This company had raised money from Emerson Collective. That's Steve Jobs' widow, Lorraine Powell.
Lorraine Powell Jobs.
Lorraine Powell Jobs, thank you, was an investor in it. And Lina Khan is saying that this is going to hinder. You're like, wait, what does this do to consumers? This doesn't harm consumers. This doesn't consolidate some huge position. She believes that this is going to be anti-competitive in the future. So remember this whole precog concept she was putting out there, that like in the future, this could cause something. So she's trying to change the lens. What do you think of this? Does this make any sense to you? Do you think they should be doing this? Do you think this is retribution because they didn't, or like an overreaction because they didn't stop Instagram and WhatsApp and they're now trying to slow down Facebook? Do you think it's just because of Facebook's reputation or because of the political stuff with Facebook? What are you thinking here?
I think it's definitely Facebook's reputation, right? She wouldn't necessarily, I don't think that they would have, I 100% acknowledge and agree with you that this is a pretty risky way to come out of the gate. Like there were probably, the FTC has taken other antitrust actions before with sort of limited success or medium success. There might have been a more traditional antitrust path forward here. Even like it might even have been less risky to try to, unwind, there were rumors that they might try to unwind the Instagram acquisition or the WhatsApp acquisition, which it's too late. And that would have been incredibly difficult. Obviously, Facebook was very worried about that, which is why they went ahead and like mashed those two together so quickly. But there's no question that this was part of the Microsoft strategy that you just mentioned. It's been part of Facebook's strategy for a really long time. It's part of Apple's strategy. Every one of these big companies, when they see something that could be a future competitor, goes out and buys it, particularly Zuck. He goes out and buys it, and he either disappears it or, makes it part of the fold.
More often he steals it, and sometimes
more often he
it.
just steals it. Right. Sometimes he buys it and kills the competition in the crib. And I am certain that at this point, the Lena Khan FTC is thinking like, well, look, we have, it's messed up. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, would you kill baby Hitler? I mean,
the tadpole in the pond, right? Like, Zuckerberg is out here like, within Unlimited is baby Hitler, and we're gonna. All right, it's just getting more and more inflammatory.
We're just going down. It's not getting better. We got to come out of that spiral.
She probably feels like the case is bolstered by the fact that there were all those documents that the whistleblower released, where it was very obvious that Facebook executives identified Instagram and WhatsApp as threats and bought them as a result to put them out of it, right? To get rid of them, to get them out of the competitive mix. So I'm sure she's thinking, we have a smoking gun of this happening in the past. If we can win this, then we set this really big precedent that says like, hey, you can't just go around buying whatever you want to kill it. That said, I still think it's like going to be an uphill climb.
I think they basically handed Facebook the perfect antitrust case to battle, and it makes Facebook look, less predatory, because it's like, well, this is a tiny little app and we're giving these, entrepreneurs and investors a great win. But this is the reason why I think Facebook is going to just absolutely get crushed in the next decade, because of the stupid mission to try to bet the farm on VR.
Yeah.
Apple and Google would never make an acquisition like this. Why? They want to be the platform, and they don't want to overreach and be the platform and the application layer. Zuckerberg is taking his playbook after everybody watched him do it, and kill Zynga's apps and everything else, and every partner they've ever had, they've basically stabbed in the back. Whereas Google and Apple are going to say, you know what? Apple and Google could write those like, those briefs, like Friends of the Court briefs, amicus briefs, I guess.
Yeah.
They could like do, and I don't know if that is something that exists in the FTC when they do this stuff, but the amicus brief is going to be like, we're not going to buy these apps. We're going to have an app store where they can fight it out. And it'll be better for consumers that everybody fights it out in an app store, and the best app wins.
Yeah.
And we'll have competition. And Apple's going to just say, like, look at all the high quality stuff we have in our app store. Google will say the same thing. Well, why would you let them just sweep through the app store and buy the top 20 apps?
Yep.
And by buying, stupid strategy by Zuck.
It actually really is a mistake, because by buying, the other thing that the FTC has in its corner on this one is that when you buy competition, you start to tread into the easiest of all antitrust complaints, which is the original test. Does it harm consumers? Does it cost consumers more? And at the end of the day, if there's only one place to get all your virtual reality stuff, and that's Meta, then there's going to be a pricing concern, whether that price is, paid in data or in lack of competition. So by trying to remove any competition from the market by buying it, I do think that Meta made a huge strategic error here. It's a real stretch by Lena Khan and the FTC, but it's not impossible that they end up putting a stop to this. And then that will have a massive chilling effect for all kinds of tech companies.
Yeah. I mean, who is advising Facebook? Oh, right. He has super voting shares. Nobody.
Right. Exactly. He's the king.
This is where like
the king.
Sheryl Sandberg and other folks around him were beneficial. Maybe they kept him on the rails. This is just such a stupid decision. Yeah. You don't need to buy these applications and then have Lena Khan be like, oh, look.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting this in my lap. Now, I don't think it's the perfect case, but I do see all the pent up hate and distrust of Facebook and Zuckerberg specifically. He's got no friends. Guy's got no friends. Zero friends. Zero friends, Zuck. The people who even worked with him, like they don't stick around him. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen, like usually in Silicon Valley, when you make all these friends, they kind of stick around, and you make people billionaires, they kind of be friends for life. You're kind of a squad. And like, this doesn't seem to cultivate a squad of loyal people around him, because he's not loyal himself. And this kind of stuff catches up with you. It's no way to live. If you're an entrepreneur watching this, this is like how not to enjoy your life and be a great entrepreneur. You could be successful, but I don't think you're going to enjoy your life when you create this much animosity around how you do business. Zuck is the worst of Silicon Valley, like literally the worst actor in Silicon Valley, I believe, is Zuckerberg.
Yeah. I can't really disagree. But
And,
he's
you know,
uploaded his consciousness and he's mostly robot now, so I guess he doesn't care.
no, it's just like you would think somebody who was around him would just say, "Hey, schmuck."
Well, I think they
Like,
have. And then the ones who used to say that are leaving. I mean, that's what the thing,
maybe
right?
that's
What
right.
happens when you become a king who's richer than God is
Mad
people
king.
stop telling you the truth. And you eventually
That's
just
the
weed
truth,
out
yeah.
the ones who would tell you the truth. And, you know, you have to acknowledge at some point that he's probably a different person now than he was then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I think he was very impressionable in the beginning. Like, and now I don't think people can get to him.
Yeah.
Stupid. I mean, I kind of like the fact that he's making these stupid mistakes. Like putting all this money into VR. That's going to be a disaster. Making these crazy M&A things when he knows he's under a microscope. Stupid. These are stupid decisions. And I think people who are working there are now looking at their options and saying like, this guy is going to run us off a cliff. He burned like $3 billion last quarter or something like that on this Fakaka VR, mission that nobody believes in. There's nobody who works at Facebook who is passionate about VR. There's nobody there. Nobody
I actually hear
uses
that.
it.
I hear that all the people on the Meta team love working on the Oculus. Like the Oculus team has been the happiest place at Facebook for a long time, from what I hear internally. And people really want to be on that team and really want to be, because how fun is it to be on the team with
$3 billion.
nonstop resources? That's where all the juice is. It's, it's like
Fair.
you can have whatever you want if you're on the Oculus team. I think it's fun as hell. Like they love it. So that's the thing that we have to keep in mind is like from the outside, we're like, and internally they're like, this couldn't be more fun.
Okay. Yes. And certainly compared with optimizing the Facebook privacy invading ad tracking machines can't be fun either. So it's like its own version of hell, but purgatory.
But if you're drinking the Kool-Aid, you're like, we're building the future. This is
But to my point, I just don't think the people who are even there are going home and putting on a VR headset or can't wait on the weekend to do VR. That's the thing. I don't think that anybody enjoys VR. It's just not fun. There's like only 3 or 4 things I can think of that really make VR worth doing. Education. Some of the lightsaber games were like interesting enough for me to try them and then like want to play them one more time. But even if the fidelity gets great, I still don't want to do it. I would do it for getting better at a sport. Like if you told me I could go in the simulator and get better at skiing or mountain biking, and it would be like an instructor and I would learn certain techniques and I could see it in 360, perhaps. I think everything is AR. Now, if Zuck is doing the VR and investing all this money just as a precursor to AR, then maybe it's a brilliant strategy. But I just think he's going to get his ass handed to him by Google's Play Store and Apple's App Store.
I think there's going to be a lot of fun to be had in VR. I think there's fun to be had in VR now, and it's only going to keep getting better. Would I bet my entire money printing machine on it? Probably not.
When's the last time you used it? You're a tech person.
When my aunt was visiting, because she plays this multiplayer VR game every single night. She's got her
This is the first I've ever heard of this. Hold on.
Yeah.
This is somebody over the age of 50.
Yes.
Who plays VR every night.
Every night.
What game?
Like plays multi. It's called like Elven Scroll, or I don't want to mix it up with the Elven Ring because it's not that. Elven. I'm gonna ask.
We
her.
need to have her on the show.
No. Every single night. And so then I'm in there and I'm like playing, and you're like, and I'm like doing the bow and arrow, and there are people like shouting at me, but also being nice. Like they're really nice to each other. Like it's this like friendly community, and they like shoot monsters together. I'm not kidding. Every night. And she was like, did you get the Oculus 2 yet? Did you get it yet? Are you going to get the Oculus 2? And then you should I actually think that if you weren't that, she is not in this category, but if you like weren't that healthy and you could imagine a scenario where it's actually like boomer popular.
Okay.
I think like, I wouldn't say Elder Scrolls. Thank you, Calvin. I'm not ready to like completely, I think there's going to be a future for VR. I don't think it's going to be as big as Zuckerberg needs it to be to justify his investment, and I don't want to see them own it. But I'm not going to write off the whole. I'm not willing to like let him poison the whole pill.
All right, fine. Everybody believes in AR, so we have consensus on that. Like if they 100%. Make the glasses light enough, you could all see.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah. I mean, if you were getting your maps in a heads up display, like you get in your car where it projects on the screen, that's just like a no brainer. You can see 1,000 applications there. And that's going to take like 4 or 5 cycles of those glasses at least for them to be reasonably weighted, which I put it at 2030. You know, it's a 10-year play, 2032. I could see in no sooner than 2030 us walking around with AR glasses. Now, for VR, I could see some edge cases. Like we had the guy in from Golf Plus, and he said some people were using it all the time. I could see if I was a golfer or I was a skier and I'm going to go to Hokkaido, I would want to do a ski simulation of that mountain if it was really good, to just see the different runs and maybe plan it out. I could see doing that.
I think you specifically said it was older people too, who maybe couldn't get out on the course.
I could see that too. Yeah. If you're,
I could really see that.
That's totally cool. Yes. I could see taking all the old people. All old people in an old age home should have Oculuses put on their faces. They should not be allowed to remove them. And they should be given psychedelics and feel like they're 20 years old.
Called the Loculus.
It's the Loculus. The Loculus. It's literally like we're making
Strap
IP
that
on this
bitch in.
show.
Slow clap.
Oh no, the Loculus. Absolutely. It would be
unbelievable.
Like, that should be Zuckerberg's market.
This is jail now. This is what jail is.
It's basically jail. It's
like in what's the Sylvester Stallone one, and then they lock the movie, and then they lock him up at the end. Is it Demolition Man? I don't know. There's like one where they put him in.
Running Man. That was Arnold when he was in a. But it's like Wall-E. They did it in Wall-E. That was Steve Jobs trolling. Anyway, this is going to be very interesting on an M&A front. Can't wait. Keep it up. Go Lena Khan. There's got to be 20 more Facebook cases. Just drown them.
Demolition Man. That's the one. Thank you.
Okay. All right, there you go.
There you go.
I think, Jason, you should mention that the point of this case that's like different is that she's trying to change the precedent from consumer harm, which you mentioned briefly in the beginning, but she's trying to change it to future harm. And she say the quote that she said, which I thought was pretty crazy.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Here's Lena Khan's quotes, just so we have them here. Even if it's not a slam dunk case, even if there is a risk you might lose, there can be enormous benefits from taking that risk. I think what we can see is that inaction after inaction after inaction can have severe costs. And that's what we're really trying to reverse. So this is the whole concept of, looking to the future and saying, is competition going to be harmed in the future? Not does this harm competition today? It's a really hard thing.
And it's a different metric for evaluating what antitrust and competition looks like. Previously, it's all been this consumer harm. Does it harm consumers? And that's been translated into prices. But what the argument that they're making now is that consumer harm occurs when there's not enough competition, period.
Right. So will this squash competition in the future? So one would say through the same lens that Amazon buying Whole Foods or One Medical is going to potentially do that in the future. And any person with any basic level of creativity or knowing the arc of history could look at any acquisition, because you wouldn't acquire it if it didn't have a chance to be successful, and say, yes, that's going to create a monster. One Medical is going to automatically be given to everybody with Prime. Oh my God, that's going to reduce competition. But it might also delight users and lower costs. So then
exactly. So you can't say that pricing and consumer harm is the metric forever. It's just not. There's so many ways to apply your anti-competitive powers that don't translate into pricing, that you have to come up with a new standard. I think that's what the argument is.
Did you want Amazon to buy Whole Foods and One Medical?
I cannot.
Are you excited about those?
I was a little bummed about the Whole Foods thing.
Why?
I didn't want, because I felt like Whole Foods was like a sort of a successful chain that I could feel good about, and I was afraid Amazon was going to corporatize it. And frankly, like I stopped shopping at Whole Foods because every time I went there, they were like, load your Amazon app. And I was like, I don't need Amazon to have my grocery data.
Yeah.
Like I actually felt the data part of it. I was like, that's irritating, but I'm kind of like that. So.
And now how do you feel about it?
Now I don't use Whole Foods. I use Instacart.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just don't use it.
I was excited for both these acquisitions because I love Amazon. And I was like, if you can make Amazon Prime work better and put more stuff into it and it's seamless, great. Now I haven't seen that actually happen yet.
Right.
Like Whole Foods, the Whole Foods
It's just
Amazon
not well
integration is
integrated. It
not
doesn't
well
matter.
integrated. We talked about this before. So I'm kind of bummed about that. I really just want to, when I'm in the Amazon app, there should just be a Whole Foods logo. When I click it, it should just put all the Whole Foods stuff in the Amazon interface and have it work just like Prime does, but I guess it doesn't.
And then instead they have the Amazon Fresh thing, which might not be Whole Foods. Like I
I'm
don't even
super
know
confused about Amazon
what's
Fresh.
happening.
Yes,
Exactly.
it's like
I
they
don't get
put
it.
Whole Foods under Amazon Fresh.
No,
It's
I
just
no
confusing.
clue what they're doing with Whole Foods and Amazon Fresh, and so I just have opted out of all of it. And I do not believe for a second that Amazon is going to do anything cool with One Medical that's going to benefit consumers outside of like people who work at Amazon. They're just a big siloed, decentralized organization, and One Medical is just going to be One Medical, but it's not going to be some awesome integration.
I think
with
they're
Amazon.
going to 10x One Medical. I think they're going to 10x the number of locations, and they're going to let you get Amazon Prime with One Medical as an upsell for an extra $100.
I mean, I would love that, and I would do that in a freaking nanosecond. But I think that's 5 to 10 years away at best.
Okay, we'll see. I mean,
So we'll see.
We'll
That's
see.
my over under. Wait, my over under. 5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
5 years before One Medical is integrated into Prime.
Amazon Fresh is the sort of like Safeway, Walmart level stuff, and Whole Foods is the like no corn syrup level.
Like, why
more
have? Why
curated.
even have both? Why?
It doesn't make any sense to me. It just they're not clear with what's going on. I almost, is there a Whole Foods app where I can just go in and order it and it just makes it work like Instacart? Does that exist?
Don't know.
I've never seen that. Like that's
Don't
what they
know.
should do, is they should just look at what Instacart does and then literally do that. Like
Mhm.
sometimes, people figure things out, and like the Whole Foods app, there is a Whole Foods app. Does it do delivery? I don't know. I'm going to try it.
I mean, they kind like this is a very interesting instance in which Amazon runs my life in every other way, but they literally ruined Whole Foods for me completely. And now when you go into the store, it's so depressing.
Is
Because
it?
it's just all delivery shoppers. Like it has none of that. You are never going to meet a cute guy at the buffet ever again. Like that's just over. It's all just kind of a sad, weird Amazon locker with delivery shoppers.
I got hit on once at the Whole Foods. I didn't realize I was being hit on, but I was at the fish counter or something, and the person's like, "Oh, what do you think of this?" or whatever. And I was like, "I don't know. I'm just getting this." And how do you make that? And I was like, all of a sudden I'm in a conversation, and I was like, "Oh, I get it."
You're like, oh, it's Whole Foods.
That's what's
like,
happening.
It's literally
I
like
didn't realize.
kind of a dating scene. Used to be.
Is it
Now
like-
it's just delivery people.
Is it Gen X Tinder? Is Whole Foods in real life Gen
It
X Tinder?
was. It used to be,
Really?
and
I
now
didn't-
it's ruined. It's
See,
ruined.
I was married by this time, but that's an interesting thing. So what is the Gen Z, Rachel, IRL dating scene? Like what retail experience winds up being a dating scene? Is it like,
Oh gosh, that's a hard one.
She's
I
like,
feel
"We
like
don't
just
go
the
places."
bar. There's the bar.
no,
It'll always
outside
be
of
the
a bar?
bar.
I said like a retail look. Is there
Oh,
like,
You know
is
what?
like spin
Actually,
class? Is if you go to
no,
spin
Farmers-
class?
like
I
farmers
actually think it might
market?
be like co-working spots.
Oh, of course.
Ah.
it is.
Definitely
I
co-working.
love
Everybody,
that.
yeah,
I like it, I
definitely
like it.
co-working spots.
Okay, sure. fine.
Co-working. Yep. Or hipster
Fine.
coffee. I could see that. But co-working, that's genius.
Co-working is so gene. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, what are
so
you working
good.
on? Oh, did you eat yet? Yeah. I mean, and look, the Rivka's.
It was
Yes,
built
have the
in.
Beer.
Like the love was built into the product.
Beer. There was beer. There was the good stuff.
Mhm.
I had plenty of that. All right, let's move
All
on
right.
to the next one. Great.
Great,
We're
good
done there?
segment. Thank you. Yes, that was
Amazing.
fantastic. Jason, I
Yeah.
need 2 ad reads or 3 if you want to knock them out for tomorrow too.
Okay.
Live.
Bottles of Dawn. Okay, let's see.
Okay,
August
Rivka. I'm hitting
2nd.
stop.
August 2nd. Hey, notice how we're doing. This is the August 2nd M&A
Extra.
and Series A extra Locket. Lena.
I'm calling it extra.
Is it extra? What is this? There's extra, and then are people saying medium? That's medium, or that's
They're
average?
saying
or-
mid.
Oh,
It's
mid.
mid.
Yeah, what's that about? That's mid.
It means like
Uh,
not that great.
Yeah, it would be like worse
like-
than okay. Mid is
Right.
worse than okay. It's
It
like,
is worse
yeah,
than okay. That's true. It's like I went to Doctor Strange and I was like, oh, mid.
mid.
Oh, like just the minimum required. It's more like
minimum
min.
required. Yes, I like that.
So it's
actually.
mid, but it's more like minimum required. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
start calling it min. That's kind of min.
What are you talking
He's like, I'm a fucking rebrand.
By the
Everything
way,
y'all.
when you say Munster, is that are you just saying monster wrong on purpose, or
Monster.
Yeah, is that a different word? Like I'm confused.
That's
every
how
time
we
you
said
say
it in Brooklyn. Munster.
Is that a
I've never heard
different
anyone
word?
Munster.
from there say
Munster. Monsters. Monster.
You
All right.
kids. You kids.
Confuse
All right.
me every time you say that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Let me say goodbye to the
I'll see
notice
you
here.
tomorrow and or the investment meeting.
Yeah, I'll-
All right,
I got a good one
Jason.
today. Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah, I have. I had a couple of good meetings, and I have some stuff to share. I have some good stuff to share. And the one that we talked about that wasn't a fit. We should talk about that one because I'm trying to teach everybody. Like,
Yeah, let's
when we
definitely do that.
engage, you know, like in
I love it.
services business versus
I
software
love it.
businesses.
That
All
is
right,
in no way,
and-
in no way is that a hill I want to die on. So I'm excited to discuss
problem,
it
great.
in an academic way.
And Noties, thank you so much.
Jason,
Bye,
restart
Noties.
your quick time. We're doing some live ads real quick.
Okay, bye.
Oh, you want me to
Thanks,
do
Mom.
another one? Oh, yeah. Quick ad.
Mhm.
I'm recording.
This is a 3 quick time day. This is good.
Oh, yeah. You're exhausting me. You're exhausting me, Nicholas.
I am not the one who signed up for 6 shows a week. So 7 if you consider all in. That was you. You made your
Okay.
bed.
All right. So we got Vanta.
And broker, I trust. That's it. Yep.
Well, the good news, I like all these. Okay, here we go.
That's good.
Quick
Quick time going.
iTrust. Yep, I got quick time. iTrust. 3, 2. Listen, a bunch of asset classes have been hit hard in 2022, but that could be where the opportunity is. And if you're a long-term believer in crypto, you need to check out iTrust Capital. iTrust lets you invest in crypto through your retirement account. It's basically a crypto IRA. This means you get the same tax advantages as a traditional IRA. And iTrust Capital has over 24 of the most popular cryptocurrencies to invest in. And unlike the stock market, you can trade 24 hours a day if that's what you're into. The iTrust Capital platform is easy to use, and it only takes a few minutes to create your account. Setting up an IRA is free, and iTrust fees are low with a 1% fee per crypto transaction. So here's your call to action. Visit iTrust.capital/twist to start investing today. That's iTrust.capital/twist. Some important disclosures: taxes and conditions may apply. Fees apply. Cryptocurrencies are a speculative investment with the risk of loss. iTrust Capital Inc. does not provide legal, investment, or tax advice, so you should consult with a qualified legal, investment, or tax professional.
Good. And broker.
Okay. 3, 2. I'm going to quickly explain one of the crucial types of insurance that every founder of every startup needs to understand. It's called cyber insurance. It's it's a little cyberpunk name. What it basically means is hacks. You got to be covered in case you get hacked. And in these crazy times, you want to be protected. So if you don't have business insurance, you have failed one of the first steps of being a great founder. And startups should look no further than Embroker. This is the insurance company I use. Their technology will save you time and money. Their prices are 20%. Their prices are up to 20% lower, and you get better coverage than the incumbents. You can go from sign up to quote and purchase in just 10 minutes. When you work with Embroker instead of the incumbents, you're not dealing with large, slow incumbents. No, your sign up is going to take just days, not weeks, and the process is so transparent. There is no opaque pricing. Everything's easy breezy, lemon squeezy. I use it myself. A lot of my startups use it. And you can instantly buy custom-built insurance for startups by going to embroker.com/twist. That's EMBROKER.com/twist. And when you're there, you're going to get an extra 10% off by using my code, TWIST. So go ahead and visit embroker.com/twist and let them know your Uncle Jason sent you.
Fanta.
3, that wasn't directed at you. 3, 2, it's really important for founders to understand what SOC 2 compliance is. Basically, if you're a SaaS or a services company that stores customer data in the cloud, you need to be SOC 2 verified from a third party so you can close major customers. It's really simple. If you're not SOC 2 compliant, you can't close big deals. But SOC 2 verification can be brutal. The process is tedious. It's time consuming, and it can be very, very expensive. But now there's Vanta. Vanta software makes it much easier to get and renew your SOC 2. Vanta customers, on average, Vanta customers are SOC 2 compliant in just 2 to 4 weeks. Compare that with 3 to 5 months without Vanta. And They partner with over 24 audit firms who have been trained to file SOC 2 reports directly within Vanta. And congratulations to our friend Christina and the team over at Vanta for raising their $110 million Series B. What an amazing company. I was able to put a little bet in there. I invested in the company myself. And here's the best part. Vanta is going to give you $1,000 off. Get $1,000 off at vanta.com/twist. That's Vanta, VANTA.com/twist for $1,000 off your SOC 2.
Great. Thank you. Upload that audio.
Yes, ma'am, sir. Ads for August 2nd, JCal. Okie dokie. Okay. Very good.
And I'll reach out to Pomp, Vinny Lingham, and someone else for a crypto round. Sandeep Madra.
Yeah.
Is he still at Ford?
No, he's out of there.
Okay.
There's also the who do we have? Who's the Bitfinex guy with the blonde hair? He's got like his TikTok channel is crazy. It's Brendan
Bitfinex guy? With a blonde hair. Not the anonymous person. Bitfinex.
Well, there was the anonymous person. Was that Bitfinex is the anonymous person?
Oh, you mean from
Who was the guy? Not
Kraken?
from Coffeezilla.
the Kraken CEO?
No, not the
Oh,
Kraken.
he had blonde hair.
There's the person who was we had on to talk about Tether. He was like a Tether truther. Hold on.
Finex, right?
Hold on. Tether. He is always like one of the top Tether tweeters. He's been like super Tether.
Bennett?
Bennett.
Yeah. Bennett's great.
Bennett would be cool.
Great. I'll reach out to him.
Bennett, Sandeep, Vinny, Pomp. That group, if you just invite, we're doing a news roundtable, try to get 3 of those 4.
Yep.
Would be great. And he is
Bennett's
crushing
awesome.
it on TikTok.
Mhm.
Because what's great about them is they're super skeptics, right? And then
Bennett
some of
is
them
a
are in the
skeptic.
space. Yeah.
Pomp is a
Bitcoin maximalist.
Maximalist, yeah. I don't know that he's toxic, but I would say
No, he's not too far from
No,
toxic.
he's good.
He's good.
He's definitely a max. I don't know if I would call him. I don't know if maximalist is inherently means that you're toxic, but yeah, he's a big.
No, maximalist is a difference than toxic. Toxic means anybody who does not buy Bitcoin, you have to attack.
Yeah.
Maximalist means you believe Bitcoin is the one true cryptocurrency, and you
Mhm.
believe that that's how you would maximize your returns, etc.
That'd actually be interesting to ask Pomp what he defines himself as.
I mean, and just to my point, remember I said like I might buy some more Bitcoin at 20K. It's at
Mhm.
23K right now. Like I think Bitcoin is the lasting cryptocurrency. I really believe like there's something very unique about it as a store of value.
All right.
I just think people don't sell it. Like a lot of people don't sell it. So if you needed to store money, like I think that use case is locked in until it gets hacked, which people don't believe it can be, and it hasn't been. So anyway.
All right. I'm gonna end the stream. Say bye to everybody.
Bye everybody.